game. Violet has got some definite backing, financial backing that is. It'll be intriguing to see what she does. She has a lot of units in play very early on in the game, and I think the other players are going to struggle to deal with that early doors.
Certainly, and it should be worth noting we're almost at $1,900 raised. Folks, our target for tonight is $5,000. Last year we raised $3,200. Let's top it. We're on track to do so. Let's make it happen, folks.
Thank you, everybody, for your generosity so far. It really is appreciated, and it is going to a great cause. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the AbleGamers charity is an organisation which tries to make games and computing accessible to those with disabilities, so those who are otherwise unable to use the traditional mouse and keyboard setup to get access to basic IT. So you are making a huge difference to people's lives with your donations. Please give generously, and as a double bonus, you get to watch units and explosions happen in-game in exchange.
Indeed, and in this game, in yellow, we've got MattShadowwing playing as a pumpkin commander that was recently added to the game at Halloween. It's got its nice own pumpkin icon there. It's very ominous, very spooky. 2 spooky, 3 me, or 4 me or 5 me. 5 me, 4 me.
Again, casters not known for their mathematical prowess, or their ability to speak, it seems. I can't even say the word mathematical. Over in green, KillerKiwi, ST clan, or I'm not quite sure whether the Kiwi is the clan or the ST is the clan. Either way, he has gone for the Legion expansion. As you heard in the pre-game speech there, he was one of the lead developers on producing this faction as an alternative to the traditional units available in the base game of Planetary Annihilation. It is a player-made mod available for download through the mod portal in Planetary Annihilation for those who are new to this game, owing to the Chrono.gg sale that's going on at the same time.
Moving round, we've got VioletAnia from Down Under. That was completely the wrong accent, but I'm going to stick with it, because why not? It spices things up just a little bit. She's gone for a radar in her base after a bot factory and an air factory thereafter. It looks a little bit of a strong opening to me, and she's already got a scout going down to the southwest where we have our last player in blue. That Smurf is getting picked off as fabricators by gunships coming out from Kiwi. He might need a little bit of help therefore if he's losing his builders like that so early on in this game.
I'm really looking at this point. I think most of the players who also have access to the donations feed, by the way, before the game, they've been able to look at what's coming in. They all know what's coming their way. They all know that at the 2-minute mark, these donations are going to start pouring in. Violet has got the bulk of those. Smartly, MattShadowwing already building an orbital factory, looking to get off world. Smurf following suit very shortly thereafter. Violet hasn't bothered. She knows what's up. She knows what's coming. The only player not to have gone for orbital to try and escape the wrath is KillerKiwi. I think he's expecting the Legion will be able to just stand up to this horde of donations which is headed his way very shortly.
I'm getting berated in chat for bullying through a mistake. That wasn't bullying, that was comedic entertainment. Meanwhile, as you say, we've got some orbital stuff coming up from these players. Let's have a quick look around the system while there's not a huge amount happening on this planet. Next planet up, that one with the laser. Ooh, we have some landmines being given to Kiwi. That's nice from Zankar. That will come in a little bit. But that one with the laser, 5 catalyst game enders later on in the game will allow this to turn into a Death Star, essentially. And once that happens, it can just start zapping other planets out of the sky. Moving on next, that's no Moon, Roncat. This is your favourite.
This is my favourite indeed. This is a very misshapen little space rock with plenty of metal on it and a few little pockmark craters there. Very featureless, very open. But ultimately quite defensible. Not a huge amount of metal on offer there, but it's free metal which currently no one else has sat on, and the aim of this game, for those unfamiliar with Planetary Annihilation, is to expand and to take on as many of these metal spots as possible. Those are your key resource in this game. You then also stockpile energy to enable you to spend that metal on things like robots, lasers, that sort of stuff. And finally, moving on to Hello Neighbour, moving, as you see, very close past square one there, rather a little too close for neighbourly love, and it's got these cool little lava lake / water deposits all around the place. Quite a lot of metal on offer. The previous 2 games, this has been very popular with players escaping off world, trying to take advantage of the high amount of metal because the metal, as I say, is what helps them to generate their armies, which they are using to destroy their enemies.
We can already see that MattShadowwing in the lower picture-in-picture there, we can see some units moving through the orbital space. If I highlight them, a couple of Avengers there, but moving further out, we can already see some units are queued up. We've got a teleporter queued ready and an anchor ready to be built. I'm guessing that is Matt on his way. Yep, he's got an orbital fabber on its way.
It's good to see these players getting off well. Kiwi now finally joining the space race a little late. These donations are very much imminent. 3 Hermes to VioletAnia. 3 Hermes, which are the scouts, the orbital scouts. They can fly around and find out exactly where your opponent is anywhere in the universe.
One is burying its head in the sand. I don't think it wants to do anything right now. I think it's a bit like Violet, a little bit tired. Maybe it just wants a snooze.
Landmine's going down for Violet as well. This is the first of a lot. Oh, 2 Praetorians for Smurf.
That's powerful
as well.
right there. These guys can build so fast, and they can do some real damage in an aggressive situation. Looks like only one of them is going to get allowed by the Puppet Master. Perhaps it was a misclick by him, but anyway. These guys are also a Legion, and Smurf, playing as the MLA or the original faction, now has access to Legion buildings via this Praetorian, so a doubly powerful thing.
The Legion in general seems to favour a more defensive play style early in the game, but they have some very significant heavy-hitting units in the late game. Lots of donations pouring in here. That's a Gustav large artillery piece being dropped in there for VioletAnia. More, oh goodness, horseflies, right, horseflies. We see these in the last game. These are like the A10 Thunderbolts of Planetary Annihilation. Those of you familiar with those, they are very, very good raiding aircraft. They've got some very, very aggressive guns on the front, and they can basically charge straight through the enemy's base, take a lot of damage, and deal a lot back without being shot down.
We can see them doing just that over on the North Pole. There is stuff being given on the other planets, and we'll get to those in just a moment. But you can see the power of these horseflies here, taking out that expansion from MattShadowwing very, very quickly there as Violet just streams into the old base and will continue to peck away. MattShadowwing has moved off this planet with his commander, so he is safe from sniping at this stage in the game. That doesn't mean, however, that he's out of the woods later on, especially with all of these donations that Violet is getting. She's even got one on Hello Neighbor right next to... no, that's MattShadowwing. He's just been given a load of kernels. Never mind, but I'm fairly sure she did receive something over there.
She did. She's on the other side of the planet. A kernel has been planted for Violet. I don't think she's seen it yet, but it's been planted right next to an advanced power catalyst, which is a very useful building. It produces both metal... correction, no, that builds its large amount of energy, but they are... very volatile, and so when those explode, they'll take out anything in the vicinity, that kernel included. So she needs to have a look at these other planets where she's getting these donations. At the moment, it looks like she's having fun with what she's got down here on square one. Got these horseflies sat idle, ready to pounce on anyone who chooses to get in their way. More donations now streaming in. Teleporters on square one. Teleporter also on Hello Neighbor for Violet. She can link up these 2 planets now. She has seen that kernel and has started building. Meanwhile, the donations for MattShadowwing over on Hello Neighbor have allowed him to build a significant stronghold there, and he's actually gone well into the lead with his economy here. Lots of early donations of tier 2 metal extractors for Matt, and he's really streaming ahead in the economy game, and he's making full use of it all. He is pouring that into as many advanced buildings as he can, and he's going to try and take on, I think, most of Hello Neighbor.
That wouldn't surprise me. It's been the favourite in the past few games. Let's have a look on the other planets, though. That's No Moon has a lot of action going on it. KillerKiwi moved his commander over there with a Chariot Legion orbital transport unit. He's built a teleporter and he's migrating some units over there. Meanwhile, there's a teleporter from Violet, which was donated kindly. Smurf looks like he built one there from the orbit. Got a couple of fabricators down there, establishing a base. Meanwhile, again on the other side, MattShadowwing being given 2 kernels, building all these air factories, getting up a radar. He'll be able to have nice coverage of that hemisphere, which is really good to know in advance who else is on here. Unfortunately, he won't see anyone, so he can only assume that Smurf is on this planet because of the blue orbital units there, which are visible by anyone in the game. Anything in orbit is visible by anyone in the game at any time. But with the presence on these planets, KillerKiwi's commander needs to be careful. Because again, in this game, the moment you kill a commander, that's it. You're out.
That's some very kind Omni-Silo donation there for Violet. She now has got more storage. For those unfamiliar with the economy in Planetary Annihilation, it is a streaming-based economy. Instead of stockpiling resources and spending them, players base their entire decisions on inputs and outputs. I'm going to pause my description briefly to bring you some commentary on MattShadowwing sending in a small bot force to raid Violet's base over on Square One. He's got some very well-placed turrets there, absolutely rinsing those poor docks trying to get in close. That's an absolutely disgraceful turret. That arsonist is very powerful indeed.
Oh.
And the streaming economy, as I was saying, is where the players have to try and balance their inputs and their outputs. If they are producing more than they are using, then they will be building at 100% efficiency. And if they continue to build more and more without producing the sporting economy, they will start to produce at lower efficiencies, that is slower build speeds. So everything will just start to build that little bit slower, and you could absolutely crash your economy. In the top left, you can see Smurf has crashed his fairly hard. In fact, all of our players operating well below the 50% threshold, with the exception of Violet. And they are, as I say, this the impact this has is that everything builds at half the speed. So the total amount of metal coming in is what really defines how much each player is able to do.
Back over on Hello Neighbour now, let's have a look at how our players have developed. MattShadowwing has really quite a nice base going here. He's got a lot of air fabricators, which of course can traverse any kind of terrain, gets them around the planet very quickly if you want to expand to all of those resource nodes, and they'll do just that. They do cost a little bit more in the way of power usage and drain though, which at the moment he can afford because he's floating in power, the blue numbers, as Roncat explained a few moments ago. And we can see the other air fabricators doing just that. Again, VioletAnia on the other side of the planet there in red, with 3 vehicle factories and an air factory, and a little bit of eco, and a few fabbers floating around. MattShadowwing has found it. And it's now a case of, can Violet hold this beachhead with that kernel and a few vehicle factories?
Lots of donations of economy buildings coming in for MattShadowwing, which actually is a very useful donation indeed. Maybe not quite as exciting as some of the other stuff. 2 kernels also dropped in as well. He's got some very generous donors somewhere out in the audience tonight. And all these economy donations are allowing him to build up a decisive lead over his opponents. He has got more than double the economy of anyone else in this match right now. 2 kernels, in fact he's got 4 idle kernels currently sat in the base on That's No Moon, and he could really be putting those to good use. That said, he is making full use of all 700 of his metal economy so far.
We can still look at Kiwi's base here on That's No Moon. He's starting to move out with his units there. They've got a little bit of mobilization. Are they thinking of going and attacking Violet's little base here? Let's have a look at what Kiwi can actually see on this planet. Kiwi, with an advanced radar in the base, can essentially see everything on this planet, as long as he has the power to do so. He can see a few blue units, and he can see some red units in the not too distant, and not many of them at that. Therefore, that looks to him like a prime target for attack. And ooh, some necromancers to bring up the rear. These guys, you don't want to be too close to them. When they pop, they deal damage in the surrounding area, but they can spawn boombots. And look at this now, as Kiwi pushes in and absolutely annihilates Violet's base on this moon. So unless she can send some reinforcements through that teleporter, that's it for this base.
I'll be interested to see whether she's able to defend this, because you got some units coming in from Smurf now, picking off a lot of the outstations. Lots and lots of mines all over this planet for Violet. I've not seen quite so many mine donations in a while. Kiwi has got this Thor on the build now. Over on Square One.
Kiwi's got a Thor on Square One. Blimey. Building it himself from orbit. That could be quite powerful into the next part of this game. Again, Kiwi not playing too heavily on this map. Kind of like when we were playing this map earlier in the week, Roncat. We kind of decided, let's keep a foothold on this planet, but focus elsewhere. And that's exactly what Kiwi's doing, and it seems to be the way that most players are playing, but not Violet. She says, no, this is my base.
We've got these necromancers now from Kiwi pushing ahead on That's No Moon. I think he's looking to take control of this planet, and he's in a fairly strong position to do so. MattShadowwing has got the economy to really pull this out of the bag here, but he doesn't have a lot of tier 2 on this planet. He's got lots of tier 1 factories, so he's got the mass, but actually not that powerful in terms of the number of units he's got available. Oh, that's a 100 boombot donation, a 200 boombot donation, 300 boombots, all on square one.
It should be 800, I believe. Here they come. This
is game-changing stuff.
Oh, and we've got some star cannons firing in from Smurf as well.
Are those docks? We need some fast-firing units.
Oh my word,
I have never seen
lot.
this many boombots, and I've been doing this tournament for a number of years, as have you, Marshall. Have you ever seen anything quite like this?
No, sir. And as long as Violet can kind of see what's going on, if she gets some scouting going, these booms are going to be lethal.
Unfortunately, we now see Smurf marching an army in to try and attack Violet. He's not put any scouts in. I take it back. He must have found some scouts from somewhere.
He's got a radar there. Oh no, a combat fabricator vehicle.
That'll be the one. So, mines are invisible to most units. There are a few units who can see them, and if you can, then obviously you can shoot them from a distance. Otherwise, any units which go across... There come the boombots. Violet's finally noticed that she's got them. She's pulling them all back into the middle of her base to try and figure out what
the commander has called them home, swarming around the commander there. He's
wow. Look,
this
is absolutely outrageous.
This is like watching an ant farm in fast motion, isn't it? It's ridiculous. And more units still coming in. Violet has these Imperators as well, ready to defend against this force. She has so much stuff, and yet the commander is kind of out in the open there, it seems. What is she planning on doing with these boombots?
I've never seen this many boombots all swarming together. That's very impressive. There's a Gustav there, defensive piece of artillery. That should help to push away those blue Smurf units. Well, I say that, they've actually mostly got anti-air left there now. The other Gustav has just taken them out. They've actually got a little bit too close, and they're in the range of Violet's defensive artillery units.
Let's have a quick look around the rest of the planet, though. We haven't done a huge amount of looking on the one with the laser. MattShadowwing has a lot of air over here. He's kind of keeping his little base to himself. He doesn't want to make it too known to the other player on this planet, Smurf, that he's sat over there, biding his time. That's what a lot of people do when they move to a new planet, is they'll bide their time, build a little enclave to sort of critical mass where it's not easily repellable, as it were, and then strike. Meanwhile, though, Smurf on this planet doesn't have a lot, really. He has a kernel, a teleporter, and a singular air factory. That's not a lot to me. And here we go, mobilizing right now. MattShadowwing, realizing he's got what it takes, bringing in the bombers, going around all of these metal sites. And that's going to knock Smurf back a little bit, especially considering Smurf is already stalling on metal really quite hard.
We've had a very good donation down on That's No Moon right now. Lots of landmines being dropped in for MattShadowwing, and we've got an aggressive force from Kiwi that looks like it's about to push towards MattShadowwing's base, but I don't see anything in there which can see these landmines in front of him. He's got them kind of hovering at a distance here, but if he decides to push in, there's a very real chance they could walk right through the middle of a huge field of landmines and be absolutely destroyed.
Bomber still coming in on that one with the laser, flying over a kernel. That just shows the power of the AA of that kernel. It was ridiculous. Back over to That's No Moon though, as you were talking about, there are all of those landmines. Absolutely disgusting. And Kiwi's commander is still over here. He hasn't got a lot going for him. He's got these necromancers, which he should really by rights keep building booms with. And he's not really got anything else going. Square one, he's kind of still monitoring his base. He has completed that Thor, and it's kind of sitting around doing not a huge amount. And I don't think he has anything on Hello Neighbor, but that's not the point right now. We've got movement on these Imperators from Violet, finally seeing some really good use of Imperators there, taking out an orbital fab, using the drones to come down and raid all of this mechs, forcing Smurf to use his star cannons.
What is he launching with those star cannons? That's the important thing there. If he's got anything there which can shoot into the orbital layer, then great. If not, he just launched them straight into the open jaws of those Imperators, which are absolutely savaging his force. The drones and the motherships both peltering those poor Scorpions down there, being picked off. The Air Force largely dealing with the drones, but the Imperators still absolutely unchallenged. There is an umbrella there from Smurf, the anti-orbital laser, which can fire up into the stratosphere to deal with this threat. But there's enough there's enough health on these Imperators that they could really just tell that where to go.
Although, looking just to the south there, Smurf, with a commander kind of in the open on the south side of his base there, that could be a potential problem. He's trying to get up some umbrellas in his base. He could do with a few donations here of some umbrellas anti-orbital, because VioletAnia with those Imperators seems to be in a really strong position on this planet.
I think if he's able to build enough umbrellas just to keep himself, safe from those, he should be fine. Violet, what has she done with all those boombots? They're all just sat there in her base. I'm surprised that she hasn't just ended someone's... there's enough exposed commanders over here. If those boombots went running around the planet, could you imagine the devastation they would cause? However, as far as I can tell, the only person with their commander left on this planet is Smurf. He is vulnerable here, though.
Looking on the southeast of Smurf's base, we have that Thor Titan from Kiwi finally making an appearance. Look at this guy.
But as with the last game, what does the Thor Titan not have?
It does have anti-air. The last game, Nimzo reclaimed a Thor with air fabbers, and now it encroaches on Smurf's base, and Smurf doesn't really... It's found the comm indeed. The comm there needs to leg it. I think it's building an Astraeus by the looks of it in that orbital launcher there, but instead it turns to the power field. I think it thinks that's an easier target, and look at that. Oh, wow.
The defensive deployment of those star cannons. There's a lot of star cannons there.
There's a lot of star cannons, but that Thor should be able to take nice care of them, really.
It's going to put a big dent in him, but is it going to be enough? I'm not sure whether they're going to be able to kill it off. There's a lot of missiles being fired there. They're certainly going to put a big dent in him.
Going to put a big dent in him. If he keeps moving, he might be able to get into this base and do a little bit more damage. But this is why donations in bulk really help. VioletAnia getting a lot of economy, and there he goes, still back into the base. I think we can see the commander in the distance running for that teleporter. Looks like he might well have got through. And now, again, turning to those power generators.
Those fabricators are going to try and reclaim it from orbit this time. Do you is that what we're about to see here?
I honestly
don't know. There's no way. No, they can't. They can't do it. Okay. I thought they were going to try and reclaim it from orbit, which would just be a next level.
Wouldn't that be a thing? But defensive Imperators instead are just as good. Of course, they also are air-based. And they will be doing just that.
That thing takes a beating, though, doesn't it? He's just... he's shrugging all of this off and slowly walking towards that commander. And there's not a lot Smurf seems to be able to do at this point. His economy is just not big enough to produce anything to counter this.
I'm surprised he's not on any of the other planets, really. That one with the laser is his only other base. He's got a teleporter which has been weakened a little bit, and that's the only other place in the system.
He's got no power.
He seems to have anything.
He's got no power to run the teleporters. Even if he gets that commander to the teleporter, which he desperately needs to do as the store starts to get even closer, he hasn't got the power to put that teleporter online. Defensive bombardment now by the star lasers. Are they going to kill it off in time? Yes, they are this time. He's just about done enough to save his commander, but that was bloody close.
That was very close indeed. And again, without power, your teleporter, your radars, none of that can function. And so when you need to run away, not having power kind of stops you from doing that. You really have to watch your resource production and expenditure. And Smurf's eco here, his power isn't that great, and he's spending about 10,000 more than he should be.
He may have survived that particular raid, but I'm not sure whether he's going to be able to pull himself back into the game after that. That's absolutely crippled his economy. He's got all of these star cannons up here above his base. He does not have the economy to use them to build anything. He really needs to be turning those off and focusing on rebuilding his economy. They are all there now for defensive purposes. This is all just damage control at this point.
And of course, your donations can bring him back into the good place for his economy. All it needs is some of that advanced power. Kiwi getting a lot of that donation though. VioletAnia moving the boombots, floating around there, moving down towards Smurf's base. What is she planning on doing?
Are we going to see a boombot snipe here, Marshall?
It's possible. They need to find the comm first. I don't know if she's seen it. She's certainly moving it, manipulating it around the rest of the base there. And unfortunately for Smurf, he's moved his air all the way away. What can he see? Can he see this? He can't. He doesn't have a radar to see this.
He can't see this incoming.
There's Oh, let's look at this from his point of view. Here come the booms. The booms, the booms, the booms. His teleporter's not linked. He's down the side of it.
Here comes the commander.
He is gone. There is no way. Gone. That is the
Excellent
power.
use of those booms by Violet, and that was about a tenth of what she has available. That commander was absolutely toast from the moment those boom bots appeared on this planet. There were so many boom bots. And that Smurf annihilated. No longer participating in this tournament. GG to you, Smurf.
And we are now in Game Enders for Big Spenders mode. 25 minutes of game time have elapsed. If you have nukes to give, folks, if you have Hallies, Titans, or Catalysts to give them. Now, here we go. We've got a Thor for Violet on square one. She's got so much stuff over here. It's unreal. Has she got a presence anywhere else? I don't think she does she? Having a look on Hello Neighbor, MattShadowwing has it under complete control. He's got so many airfabs building a nuke. It's ready to launch whenever he feels like it. It's a case of, does he find a commander and does he snipe it?
That's now 2 Thors being donated to Violet on square one. What she needs to do now is to lock down this planet. She has got the ability to knock everyone else away from here. She's got boom bots which can go and just pick off all of the remaining outstations. She's got 2 Thors which can power straight through her opponent's bases. She really needs to get in here, clear these guys off, and take this planet for herself, because her economy is falling behind.
Well, he's falling behind, and I'm just having a look at this little skirmish over here on That's No Moon Moon. MattShadowwing posturing with his entire army there. Meanwhile, KillerKiwi with all of his artillery. Nice and defensible here on That's No Moon Moon. Also building a Thor again, running out of metal though, is trying to stave off the inevitable approach. Kiwi could well do with some additional donations, folks. Get them coming. He needs some units. Ideally, in this instance, I would have to say a Zeus Titan.
Meanwhile, I was wondering why MattShadowwing has suddenly got so much more economy than anyone else in this game. It turns out he has had Hello Neighbor all to himself for some time now. And I'm not sure if you can see this ping here, Marshall, but he is building a nuclear missile launcher and a nuclear missile in it.
The nuke has already fired, that's why. He's fired it already. Where has he fired it to? He's fired it to That's No Moon Moon. Kiwi needs some anti-nukes, and he has some. But they don't cover his entire base. If MattShadowwing is careful about where he places his nuke, Kiwi can't defend against it. Let's have a look at what Matt can see. He knows where the anti-nuke is, so he will have fired that nuke on the front lines to kill off all of this artillery just out of range if he knew how to fire nukes. We'll find out in the not too distant as the nuke is arriving now. Where is it landing?
Directly over the anti-nuke launcher, shot down instantly on entering the atmosphere. Better luck next time. Doesn't matter though, because he's got another one ready to go in about 5 seconds time.
He's fired it already.
No way. Is he just...
He's fired it, and he's ready for another one. He's got so many fabs building over there, and Kiwi, I think, knows what's up now. He's assisting those anti-nukes. I don't think he can system out fast enough. Kiwi needs your help, folks. He needs something to deal with MattShadowwing. MattShadowwing also now has a Titan on That's No Moon Moon, which is pushing in, and it has such good range here. It's getting pelted down by Gustavs on the noggin.
That is absolutely outstanding. Those Gustavs are brutal. Look how much damage those are doing to that Thor.
And in come the units now. The boombots against the tanks. Boombots, as we've said before, are pretty damn good against tanks. Not quite enough numbers, though, against such a massive tank force. But the Gustavs are just pelting away. 2 nukes now in the orbital sphere. I don't think Kiwi can continue to defend against this. We've also got a tier from MattShadowwing, an orbital laser unit. And it's absolutely going to decimate this base. Another nuke lands. It gets antied. Another one is about to arrive. Here we go. It arrives on the front lines.
It's
just
managed
where
to
I
land
said.
outside. The Gustavs are gone.
It's gone. And now he can push in. Kiwi has the Thor in defense, but we're about to see the arrival of the tier, and that will come over the top of the commander. There's not enough anti-orbital here to stop this mining drill laser of doom as it starts to drill. The commander there running for the teleporter, but there's not enough for this tier. The tier starts to damage that teleporter. Will the commander get through? It's going to be so close. I think he might just about make it. No, the teleporter's gone! And Kiwi is out of the game. The tier showing its power. MattShadowwing looks dangerous. Violet needs your help after all, folks. MattShadowwing has such an advantage in this game. 2,198 metal versus 413. 1,100 army units against 589. Pretty much double plus extra in every way. Violet needs some help. And that could come in the form of some Hallies or some lasers, but she needs something on other planets, and it seems as though she's really lost the ability to keep control over all of these planets here.
I think Violet's time difference starting to show here. 3 energy drinks maybe not enough to keep her going. She does have a tier that's been donated to her in the orbital layer here. She really needs to push out and just get rid of the last remaining enclave of MattShadowwing over on this side of the base. She has really got an uphill struggle on her hands here, folks. If you want Violet to be able to do something against the wrath of MattShadowwing, you're going to need to do something very drastic. You are going to need to have, I suspect, very deep pockets indeed, but if it's worth it to you, if you want to see Violet playing in the finals, you are going to have to dig deep and dig soon, because I don't know how much longer she's going to have left with these machine gun nukes, as someone commented in the chat, firing out. There's that's so much build power on a single nuke launcher. I think that's probably about as much as I have ever seen on a single nuke launcher, and dare I say it, Marshall, that was probably the closest shave I have ever seen a commander have with a teleporter. Again, since I've been commentating on this game for a number of years now.
It was very, very close indeed. And we can see the counts of the units there. We've got 63 T2 airfabs and 122 T1 airfabs assisting that nuke coming out. Violet needs, I tell you what Violet needs. She needs, I reckon, 3 Zeus on Hello Neighbor will be enough. Because there's no anti-air around this commander. And there's not actually a huge amount of interceptors here. Yes, they're kind of all split up, but together, 3 Zeus will be able to really make a dent here. But it's a case of, can Violet actually control it? And, well, remains to be seen. Square one, she's still receiving donations. She has expanded really quite nicely here. Almost knocked MattShadowwing all the way off. She's using so many Titans in on his base now. She's got a Thor coming in from one side, 2 Zeus coming in from another, but she needs more Zeus on Hello Neighbor, and some nukes incoming now from MattShadowwing.
Where are they going to land? And does Violet have any anti-nukes?
She does not. Over her commander and her base, she has none. And MattShadowwing did have an orbital scout, so he probably sees where this commander is.
And we can now see an anti-nuke being rushed up from Violet. Is it going to be enough? That one is going directly on her commander's head. That's 1 nuke down. Another one inbound. Another two inbound.
And that's
where
going to
do
be
you
curtains.
think they're going to go?
I mean, would you win the game if you could?
I think that's it. That's the end there.
That is right there. Right on the edge.
GG's all round. And there's more.
And still they come. Get the reference?
You know what? I don't get that one, Marshy. I feel bad. Should I?
And still they come. War of the Worlds. Jeff
Oh,
Wayne.
of course it is. Now I feel like a dum-dum.
But that was game 3 of 5 in this AbleGamers tournament.